Hey guys, we're very excited to welcome you back to the second part of the marketing module. We really hope you are well versed with the basics of marketing through the pre-recorded session that was sent to you yesterday. We're really sorry for the difficulties that came up in terms of having a live session. It was due to technical difficulties, and we've decided to record this version beforehand as well, as we got a lot of requests from people saying they'd like both the sessions to be pre-recorded to ensure continuity of thought. So we really hope you get a lot of insight through this part of the session and get a lot of knowledge by the end of it. Moving on, the speakers for the day are um, Vedika, myself, and Nikita. We really hope we're able to enlighten you a little more. Over to Vedika.
So, a quick recap from what you must have seen in yesterday's session. We began with discussing what marketing is, and you all saw a short clip video about what marketing was. Then we discussed different types of marketing that included above the line and below the line marketing and digital marketing. Then we also discussed about the marketing mix that included the 7 P's of marketing. Apart from that, we also had Mr. Gaurav Gupta as a guest speaker. I hope you all heard him and took some lessons from what he said. And he generally talked about the marketing funnel and how marketing and sales are different. As we had introduced what are different types of marketing yesterday and talked about digital marketing, today we'll talk about another form of through the line marketing, that is print media marketing. So what is print media marketing? Print media advertising is that uses printed media such as magazines and newspaper to reach a wide range of consumers, business and prospects. It is basically a advertisement that you see in a magazine like Forbes or Vogue. It is a advertisement or a pamphlet or a brochure that you see when you open the newspaper. These are different forms of print media marketing that are prevalent today. Adya will walk you through what are the pros and cons of print media marketing.
So I think Vedika has really established a good base for us on what print media marketing is. And moving on to what the advantages of print media marketing are. So the first advantage is that it's very appealing visually. As individuals, there's two types of people: one that enjoy learning through visual text, and one that like other forms of learning. So print media marketing is really appealing to visual learners. It also gives a really high ROI than digital ads do. If any of you don't know what ROI is, it's basically return on investment. So it's a performance measure used to evaluate the efficiency of an investment or compare the efficiency of a number of different investments. Um, Print media marketing also establishes and leads to a loyal customer base. What this basically means is that if in a market there's two companies selling two products, then the consumers that are loyal to company A will always return back to purchase from company A. They won't choose to purchase from company B. This is very effective as it really helps you keep your customers and keep on your sales. Another advantage is flexibility. So print media marketing is an amazing way to customize your advertisements to target different market segments and different audiences. It's also a medium to establish trust amongst you and your consumer. It really allows the flourishment of consumer relations. Print media marketing also reaches multiple generations. There are a lot of companies out there that, you know, try to attract the attention of various audiences from different age groups. And in a scenario of such, print media marketing is extremely efficient as it garners audiences of different generations and ages. Print media marketing is also a great way to target a local audience and, you know, garner them to buy your product or service. Moving on, there are, like anything, there are also disadvantages to traditional marketing or print media marketing. The first thing would be it's very costly. Printing any advertisement in such bulk quantities could be very expensive for a company or a brand. The second thing is that it lacks interaction with the audience. In terms of digital advertising, you'll see that there's a lot of ways for the company to interact with the consumer. However, print media marketing does not allow this benefit. Um, there's also a very low conversion rate. Uh, and through print media marketing, it's also really difficult for a company to receive feedback for their consumers and understand consumer preferences. It's also tough to measure ROI, which I mentioned previously was return on investment.
Okay, so next topic for today is commercial and social marketing. Commercial marketing is basically launching goods to corporations and individuals. The goal of commercial marketing is to develop a relationship between client and the product. This is achieved by creating a brand identity with which the consumer can relate. For example, deodorant company may use its product as edgy with the use of neon colors and different fonts. The company uses this branding image to appeal the teenagers. It is said that commercial marketing is the antithesis of social marketing, whereas commercial marketing seeks to enlighten the individual she will receive personal product. Social marketing has non-profit motives and seeks to educate consumers about collective social issues. Some social some social marketing organizations that are commonly known are public sector organizations, World Health Organization, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, Department of Health, Department of Social and Human Services. Social marketing was first introduced in 1960s. Uh, it it was usually began because it needed to combine the principles of commercial marketing with other theories that drives the human behavior. In contrast to commercial marketing, social marketing aims to generate societal good rather than just monetary profits.
So, what do you think this IKEA staircase is? This staircase is actually not an ordinary staircase. I'll explain what the staircase is all about. So, IKEA made this staircase drawer. So, this is a very good storage thing for people living in big cities like Mumbai, Delhi, New York, where you do not have a lot of storage spaces. So, they made this staircase with sections and drawers that can fill up your stuff, and you can keep it efficiently rather than storing it in one place. And this is not only innovative, but it is also convenient to get stuff that you want from time to time while you use this staircase, and also use it for making organization in your house easier. So another example of a commercial marketing is this video.
Now that you've seen this,
Yeah, so it is a very simple marketing strategy, which is a commercial marketing advertisement. They basically show all the qualities of the shower and the qualities that are in the shower and the taps, and this is how they are using a simple advertisement to just showcase what their product is and market it. Coming to examples for social media, so coming to the importance of commercial marketing is, commercial marketing helps you generate product awareness. It educates people about what the product is. It helps in the branding of the company. It also, so commercial marketing basically focuses on showing people how your product is different from other products, while it targets its main target audience. What is, so we already talked about what social marketing is. So importance of social marketing. So social marketing is not only based on marketing the product, it also is based on talking about how it is good for the society. It deals with the human welfare. while it also focuses on consumer satisfaction. They basically want that humans are at a greater advantage when they consume the product or the service. And social marketing helps generate great profits while the company is being considerate and uses marketing and sells products that is good for the society. And we'll talk about this more in the next module, which will be the sustainability module, where how companies use sustainability model to preserve the society while also market and sell their products with great profits. So these are some examples of social marketing. Social marketing is basically done to generate awareness against a problem in the society while also selling stuff that can help people come over those problems and make the society a better place. One of these is how your beauty up in smoke shows how smoking can cause harmful effects to your skin in the future. And the other is about how they're selling a product which helps feed people in Africa. And this is how social marketing is done. There's another marketing. This is another example for commercial marketing, which talks about is tailgating isn't worth it, which talks about this is an example of both social and commercial marketing actually, where it shows that on highways it's not worth it to go and tailgate yourself into a big truck, because that in the end of the day will cause getting your life at risk while the truck could be safe. This is also showing a car's weak resistance, while it also providing the message that it is important to make sure that you give trucks room and do not enter their lane on highways to have a safe journey on these highways. Coming to market trends, I think Adya will take over from here.
So I think so far we've really gained an insight into what commercial marketing is, print media marketing is, and what social marketing is. But I think now we're going to move on to what the trends of marketing in general are. In today's day and age, it's very important that marketing trends and movements are paired with brand activism. So brand activism, in a way, is today's biggest marketing trend. What is brand activism is something that you might ask. Brand activism is basically when a company or a brand is well informed and advocates a political, social, environmental, or economic issue. Um, Moving on to the next slide. So now that we've spoken about what brand activism is, it's important to understand why brand activism is important. Why is it important that a company is a brand activist over being brand neutral? Could we go back to the previous slide again? Yeah. So consumers today find it hypocritical for a company that claims to be guided by core values to then withhold its position on a political issue. The implication appears to be that the company is hiding something and therefore trying to deceive its customer base. That's exactly why it's important that a company is not brand neutral. Conversely, brand activism is good as it builds trust. The brand that uses brand activism develops a more natural relationship of trust because consumers are more likely to support a campaign that's helping a cause they believe in. Brand activism also increases exposure. If your brand's goal is to make an impact and reach a wider audience, then striving to be a meaningful brand can fulfill your objectives. The focus on significant issues along with a marketing campaign can boost word of mouth, mainly if the campaign contains an emotional element. Brand activism is also very, very good because it keeps up with the trends. It's crucial for any brand to be up to date and relevant in the market. Being an existing brand and, for example, supporting a growing social movement can be the perfect move to keep up with trends. Brand activism is also a perfect way for targeting millennials. It's no secret that most socially responsible campaigns are done to reach millennials because they are the first that need something more than just the product. According to statistics, 70% of millennials can pay more for a product if it has a social significance and if it talks about social issues. So bottom line, Actively supporting a cause can help you build loyalty and cultivate lifelong customers who share your values. When people associate buying from a brand with supporting their values, it creates an emotional tie that goes beyond product quality or price, which is why brand activism is something that should always be chosen over brand neutrality. Moving on. These are just some figures of people's reactions to brand neutralism versus brand activism. So, in scenarios where companies were brand neutral, people stopped buying products from their companies, basically boycotted their products. People skipped their ads on television, they posted negatively about their brands on social media, and they even went to the extent of signing petitions against the particular company or brand. Conversely, companies that were brand activists received a lot of positive attention from the audience. There was a lot of guerrilla marketing, as consumers that were happy with these brands were now advocating for these brands in front of their friends and family. They were advocating for these brands on their social media platforms. In fact, they also very actively participated in the Facebook focus groups of these companies. So from these statistics, we understand that if a company is brand neutral or a company is going against a social movement, they're likely to face by being boycotted, versus a company that's being a brand activist is likely to gain the positive attention of being boycotted. The difference between boycotted and boycotted is vast, as boycotted refers to people stopping from buying your products, whereas boycotted refers to the act of showing support to a company or brand by intentionally buying their products. So next slide. So while you're looking at this video, I'd really like for all of you to reflect and think about companies that you've come across so far, and think of whether these companies were brand neutral or brand active or brand activists. Now I'm going to discuss a couple of examples with you of companies and their brand activist campaigns. So the first one that we will be discussing is McDonald's, and McDonald's with respect to Pride Month. So McDonald's franchises in Washington, DC and the San Francisco Bay Area celebrated Pride Month last year with a rainbow fry box, and by participating in the local Pride March with a spin on their slogan. McDonald's pushed hashtag loving is loving to show their support for the LGBTQ community and appeal to consumers who may identify with the message. This had a vast impact, as this made consumers feel valued. This had such a big impact that one consumer actually drove from his Midwestern state to a Washington, D.C. franchise because he appreciated McDonald's inclusive stance on pride, which made him feel valued and made his community feel valued. He traveled nearly 450 miles to support a business who supports him. This gives us a lot of knowledge on how being a brand activist in today's day and age is important, because it allows you to build a relation with your customer, a relation that's based on value and emotions rather than price and product. Next slide. So this example comes from Nike's body positivity campaign. So generally, activewear is only seen on minuscule models or mannequins. However, as we can see in this campaign, there was a plus size model mannequin that was made to wear activewear in one of the Nike stores. This was actually great, and this was a great marketing strategy, as this led women of different shapes and sizes to feel like they were finally being represented by a brand. Nike came off as a more inclusive brand, giving it a competitive edge against other sportwear brands. The campaign empowered women in such a way that it also led to the increase in sales of Nike. So this gives us a great deal about how brand activism is directly proportionate to sales, because the more the brand activism, the likely that your sales will increase. Next slide. The last example that we will be discussing is Ben & Jerry's. So from the very beginning, Ben & Jerry's has always been a brand activist. If you think about it, the whole marketing strategy of Ben & Jerry's is around brand activism. This particular example will be discussing the Black Lives Matter movement. However, even before Ben & Jerry's released a lot of ice creams named after various social movements happening around the world. And this is what sets Ben & Jerry's apart from other ice cream companies. So during the Black Lives Movement in the US recently, Ben and Jerry put out a very strong statement against white supremacy, supporting the Black Lives Movement. This garnered a lot of positive attention from the audience. We'll see this in the next slide. So as you see on the next slide, we have two tweets. The first tweet gives us an idea of how Ben and Jerry's gets a competitive edge by being a brand activist. Over here, the woman that's tweeting is comparing other ice cream companies and their statements with what Ben and Jerry's statement was. The second tweet talks about how a lady that was initially not willing to try Ben and Jerry's ice cream, or a lady that disliked Ben and Jerry's ice cream, is now more willing to go try their ice cream and give it, give the whole ice cream trying experience another shot, because she values the stand that Ben and Jerry's is taking. This proves the point that we discussed earlier of how brand activism builds an emotional relationship with your customers that leads to them making purchases beyond brand and product. Over here, even though this lady doesn't like the ice cream so much, she's still going to go buy it because she has created an emotional relation with the brand based on a stand they took for the movement. Next slide. While brand activism is very, very important, it's very important in marketing to understand that you can't partially advocate an issue. If you are involving a marketing strategy and brand activism, then it's important that you are always an advocate. So remember that today consumers are highly discerning, and if you're supporting a cause simply to generate PR or buzz, they'll be able to see that you're trying to take advantage of the situation at hand. Hence, making a statement is no longer enough. Consumers want to see meaningful actions that supports your stand on the issue. So what you could do apart from putting out a statement is being a part of various campaigns and initiatives. As a company, you can choose to sponsor or make money transactions to organizations that are working to empower this particular movement. But what's most important as a company when you're advocating an issue as a brand activist and involving this as a part of your marketing strategy is that you change your companies and organizations core. If, for example, you're advocating an issue of gender equality, but at the core of your organization, you have a male dominated workforce, then the audience is going to give you a lot of backlash. In that case, after putting a statement out about gender equality, it's important that you ensure that your company's workforce is a balance of both men and women. So when you're advocating as a brand, it's important you advocate completely. Otherwise, your brand comes off as a hypocritical brand and you look like an opportunist trying to take advantage of the situation. Next slide. So one thing that we all need to understand is that yes, your campaign will get some big thumbs up, but we all know that you can't please everyone. So as a company, even if you're a brand activist, yes, you'll please a huge percent of your target audience, but you won't please everyone. There'll always be some people that will give you backlash irrespective of what your campaign is. The next video is an example of this. So what we understand from this video is that this was a marketing strategy with respect to the Pride Month. So generally, if you see a Skittles packaged product, you'll see that there are a lot of rainbow colors on the packaging. So what Skittles decided to do to support the LGBT community is that during Pride Month, they decided to package their products differently. They decided to drain out all of the rainbow colors and make their packaging purely white. This was to say that during this month, the only rainbow that we want to see is the LGBT community flag, which is the Pride flag. So this obviously got a lot of attention and a lot of positive attention. But like I said previously, there were certain people that gave it backlash. So a lot of people were unhappy that the packaging was now white after the colors drained out instead of being black. They related it to racism. A lot of people even were unhappy that this white packaging was not in every store in the world, but only a few stores. So what we get is that be a brand activist, but don't expect 100% positive attention. That's all there is for marketing trends. So thank you so much for tuning in for this video. I really hope you've gained an insight into the marketing world, and you will be able to come up with your own marketing strategies in the future. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email us, I believe. And yeah, thank you so much for joining.